Well, we talked about the NFL draft, some of the guys that have gone on in the draft. We talked about Brady Quinn and all these teams. We're going to move on to, especially more locally, we're going to move on to the Baker football team. This Saturday, coming up, is the Baker spring football game. It's at 1 o'clock. Some big factors in that. What do you think are going to be some guys that are really going to stand out in this spring game?
Oh, well, obviously, as far as Coach Grosser is concerned, he's going to hope that Mac Brown plays well. Really, for the alumni game, it's kind of just a nice event for him. It's not real competitive. I mean, the guys want to come back and show that they still have it, but, nobody's going to be out there trying to break anybody's hips or anything. So, definitely they'll probably just want to make sure that their offense is working well, see how Tyrell Spain and Nolan, the two wide receivers they got, how do they fit into everything? How are they looking? It's still a long ways away from next year. So what they can do is kind of limited, but it's probably just more making sure that their defensive schemes and everybody has their jobs and that they're doing everything correctly, and also on the offense that they can run the offense, that they can bring in a couple running backs, and they can get the job done. And hopefully Mac Brown looks pretty fluid, and hopefully nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, definitely. That's what alumni game is about, just out there having fun. That's what spring ball is about. It's about being out there and just learning things at the same time and getting things done. I think that so far this year, from what we've seen, I think the team is going to have a good spring ball and hopefully a good fall to follow in. Well, after talking about spring ball, let's move on to another spring sport, baseball. Baseball just finished its season, and it ended up pretty positive. They were 14-16 in conference, and they ended up at least over 500 overall. So what do you think some things that are a real key factor this year that helped out the team?
Well, definitely. I think they're pitching early on, especially Jeremiah Johnson winning his first 6 straight starts, and then Logan Peck doing a great job the entire season. I think he was a real big reason for them. They knew that when he was out there throwing, they had a good chance to win. So I think definitely pitching. I mean, you look at the stats in the conference, and they're middle of the pack, but they're we're 4th in hits allowed and 6th in runs and 5th in opponent's batting average. So that there's 11 teams in the conference. So they're better than average in the conference in that area. But batting was one area where they really kind of struggled.
Definitely. Batting is. There was a few key players out there. Dan Carr had some good game-winning hits every once in a while here, and Tim McCollum stepped up and played good DH, and Dusty Griffin was another guy, and Ben Mejia, another good guy. But here and there, it was a little off. They had some guys that came in, and a lot of the hits were solid, good hits, but the ball wasn't getting anywhere. Easy catches out in the outfield, long fly balls, that kind of stuff. But it really wasn't pushing over the edge, wouldn't help with RBIs and stuff. So the season started out great and ended up not so good. But, it's a winning season, and it's going to help to push further on for the years to come.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, they finished 23-22, so they were above 500. The first time under the Hannon regime that they were able to do that, and also the first time since '99. So, that's great for them. They're obviously going in the right direction. They also have great young talent. Nick Peterson, who started second base this year, Andy Hall, who came in, did a good job at third. Fast Andy Cass at center field, he did a tremendous job for them. So, along with guys like Jeremiah Johnson will still be around, Nick Bird will still be here, Kyle King, Dusty Griffin. These are key players that were on their team this year, and they'll all be coming back. So, I know Coach Han is not going to be completely content with this one season here being over 500. He's going to want to come in next year, and it's going to be all about coming to play and getting into the postseason next year.
Definitely. When we look forward to next year. Well, let's move on to the MLB and talk a little bit about that. This just in, Alex. The Royals are still terrible.
Yeah, that's late breaking news. I know we're all surprised to hear that, but they are struggling once again. Another sub 500 year, and that's pretty much as far as I want to take this.
We're gonna leave the Royals out of this segment here in this show because it just hasn't been a good season for them. But let's move on. We've talked about the NFL, the MLB, Baker Sports, Baker Spring Sports. Let's talk about the NBA. It's playoff time.
Sure.
What are some of the teams that are really sticking out and pushing on to go for this title this year?
Well, I think a big surprise in the East was the Bulls just taking care of the Heat.
Definitely.
Absolutely sweeping them, and none of the games were really that close. The Bulls just were the more athletic, the younger team. I think Shaq's probably done winning titles by now. I don't know if he's going to be able to really be that second player to go to. That's going to be for a team. Dwayne Wade, he's going to come and play, but they just didn't have anybody else to support him.
From what I saw from the games, is the fourth quarter is what it came down to. I mean, the Heat was running the games for a while. In the fourth quarter, the Bulls stepped it up. Ben Wallace, 3 throws, just bringing them in and pulling the games together. And I think that's what really brought it out in the end was the Bulls just stepped it up. That's what you got to do in the end, and that's the way it is in the NBA. It's kind of a lazy game. In my opinion, it's a lazy game for 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter is where they step it up and play.
Sure.
And that's where the Bulls came in and did the job. And it's sad because the Heat, defending champs, are
they're done.
They're done. I mean, you don't see that. Actually, it's been like a good 9 some odd years since that's happened.
Sure.
In the NBA, and But what are some of the other teams that are sticking out in the crowd?
Oh well, the Bulls swept. So did the Cavs, and the Pistons look pretty impressive over the Magic. The Nets are still leading 3-1 over Toronto, so they're looking to take that series. In the West, another team from the championship last year, the Dallas Mavericks, they're looking like they're going to lose to Golden State here in the first round, an 8 seed beating a 1 seed, which hasn't happened too many times in the NBA. But Golden State has just been giving Dallas just matchup problems. They just have too many athletes, too many go-to players. They're just a much different team than Dallas. Dallas, they have a lot more size, but Golden State's just got that athleticism, that quickness, and they're really just taking it to them right now. They're playing at the tempo that they like. Baron Davis has been leading that team, and it looks like Dallas is going to be out of the first round. The Rockets are looking pretty impressive right now. They're leading over the Jazz, the Spurs, leading over the Nuggets. The Spurs are always a factor in postseason play. They're kind of overlooked sometimes, but they're doing a good job. And then the Suns over the Lakers, which isn't a big surprise that the Suns are beating the Lakers. The Suns will move on and probably be the favorite coming out of the West, but we'll see how it goes. The NBA is a crazy league, and anybody can beat anybody.
It is true. It is true. Well, we've gone through all kinds of sports here. We've gone all local. We've gone, national. And it's coming down to playoff time for the NBA. It's coming down to a lot of other things. Hopefully the NFL season is going to be good next year.
Sure.
I'm looking forward to it, of course, with these new Chiefs pickups and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, Alex and I think we've talked. This week in sports is pretty much done, taken care of.
The draft is pretty much the biggest thing.
Yeah, no kidding. Draft has been the big thing this week. The Royals, once again, I don't know.
Do you really want us to talk about them? Because I don't think they're
I
going to hear about
don't want to talk about them. Maybe next time. Well, this has been Alex Dingman and Chris Campbell for KNBU.
Well, that's going to do it for our show today. We talked about the baseball team this week in sports, as well as took an inside look at the Hannon family. I'm Michael Cation. This is my final show here on Wildcat Chat. I appreciate all of your patronage. Everybody, have a great night.